I love this Enagic business, a professional marketing review. It makes it sound so serious. We'll let a few more people come on board, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Dennis Wiley, and it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. We thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to help us with our webinar, and we're very, very proud to have Mr. John Swardstrom with us as well. A little bit about myself. I got involved with Enagic kind of opposite of most people. Most people get a device and get the healing benefits from it and then realize that they can, make a lot of money with the business aspect of it. I kind of looked at this from the very beginning as a business, didn't realize how much it was going to help me health-wise, but it's helped me tremendously. I started drinking the water, and in 3 weeks, I must have lost 17 or 19 pounds. A couple of years ago, I had a heart attack, got the machine after that, and again, started drinking the water. Basically eliminated my medication that they had me on, metformin. I was on 2 different cholesterol medicines, a blood thinner, and I slowly just weaned myself off of those. I never told my doctor, and when I got my blood work done, he said, "Hey, you're doing great." And I said, "Okay, great, I'm going to keep up the good work." Never really sharing with him, what it was that I was doing, but I'm thoroughly convinced that it's the water. As far as the business aspect of it's concerned, I, was at first kind of shy about it. I don't know if the word shy or if I was just kind of almost embarrassed to tell people that I was involved with Enagic because of the connotations that some multi-level marketing things and direct marketing and network selling, goes along with it. And I've always been involved with sales, but just recently, and by that I mean within the last 30 days, I've come to accept what it is Enagic offers and what I feel I'm going to get out of it. And I'm hands down 100% convinced that I will be extremely, extremely successful with the business aspect of this. John Swardstrom is already extremely, extremely successful with the business aspect of Enagic. John's been involved in the industry for probably 10, 11 years. One of the top producers in the company. Matter of fact, that's how I found him. I went to the Enagic office. I looked on their wall where they have the little, 8x10s of all the successful people. And I said, I'm going to call that guy right there. And I called him. He picked up his phone. He talked to me, told me all about it. We got started. He's been an enormous help to me, not only spiritually, but business-wise, health-wise. He's a great, great, great leader. We're so blessed to have him. John has accomplished so much in his lifetime. When he got involved with Enagic, he was very successful in real estate, and he'll tell the story a little bit later about how he got involved, but he's all kinds of things. You might have seen him in television and movies. He's been an actor, still is from time to time. He is a certified Los Angeles City firefighter. He is an ambassador for the Anti-Cancer Institution, which is a big passion of his, and mine too at this point in time. He travels around the world, and he does it for his team. If you are fortunate enough to sign up, on Enagic through someone who is underneath John, you get John, and that's truly a blessing. John has been all over the world. In the next couple of months, he's going to Seattle. He's going a couple other places in the United States. Then he goes to Germany. I believe you go to Prague. You were asked to speak at the university or one of the universities in the Ukraine. And you've got team members all over the world. So we're very proud to have you, John. Thank you very much.
Hey, it's great to be here. I love talking about this stuff, and I love sharing. And, you look around the world at some businesses and people in their jobs and stuff, and I've got the best job in the world. I honestly feel like I haven't worked a day in the last 10 years. And each person on this call, each person on this webinar has a chance to do the same thing. This is a wide open opportunity, and the sky's the limit. And to be able to make the type of money that I'm making and have fun with it and get to work with your family and take time when you want to, we're going to get into all that. So sit back, buckle up, and ready to have a good time.
One of the things I believe I got involved with Enagic was because I was really searching for something that was going to give me passive income, financial freedom. I was on a website, or not a website, but a Facebook group the other day, and it's amazing to me how many work from home opportunities are out there. And what really struck me was that they're all supposed to be so easy, like a couple clicks of the mouse and your PayPal account's going to have money in it. None of them require work. Everyone wants kind of something for nothing. I don't believe Enagic fills that void. I think you have to work hard at it. You have to have a real passion for helping people. But if you do, you can be extremely successful, and you can create passive income. You can create financial freedom. We all know the wealth gap in the country is widening. Okay, the top 1%, or the people who really make most of the money, own most of everything. The rest of us are working very, very hard to eke out a living, and it's difficult from time to time. Robert Kiyosaki sums it up very best. He says, you want leveraged, you want residual income. You don't want a linear income where you have to go to work every day. And I think that's where most of us fall into. We're employees. I know I am and have been. I have to go to work to make a paycheck. If I don't go to work, guess what? I don't get paid. It's very, very simple. And I was thinking the other day about what would happen. I mean, I had a heart attack a couple of years ago. What would happen if I got really sick and was unable to provide for my family? We would be literally devastated. So it's really, really important that we have the belief that we can move out of that employee quadrant, if you will. Sometimes you want to look at self-employment. What I've found from being self-employed in the past is that I'm still employed, but I'm just employing myself. So I'm still working 12-hour days. I'm still going to work to bring that paycheck home. I think business owners who become investors really are the ones that have it down pat. You want people to help you leverage. You don't want to be the leverager. So, if you can get 5 people working for you or helping you with something, you're going to be a lot more successful. You're going to be able to take your money and become an investor. You can do it through real estate. You can do it through definitely things like Enagic. There's many different ways to do it out there. Franchise is one of them. John, you probably know a little bit about this.
Yeah, people talk about franchises. A lot of people see McDonald's and see what they've been able to do after the past, 40 years, 50 years, and it's absolutely been amazing. But in order to own a McDonald's franchise, it's going to cost anywhere from $1 million to $10 million just to open up a McDonald's franchise. The thing is, too, is that you have to have over $500,000 liquid capital in the bank at all times. And you got to go through 6 months of training at their training center, how to flip the burgers, how to fry the fries, how to treat your employees, what to say to the customers, etc. Then you have insurance costs, building costs, all these things. And most McDonald's franchises, people aren't out of the red until the 3rd year where they're actually starting to make a profit. What's great about this is I saw a profit my 2nd month, not my 3rd year, which is phenomenal. And that's just one thing with franchises. Now, this is basically how it all started off. We started off in Japan, and in 1974, we came out the commercial version. And what happened is people were seeing the results of people were getting in hospitals with this, that they wanted their own water ionizer at home. So in 1994, we came out the consumer version, and it just exploded. Then we moved to the United States in 2003, where we have offices in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Florida, Dallas, and Linwood, Washington, and Hawaii. And what's great about this is I'm based in Los Angeles, but I can take this business wherever I want. I can take it wherever I want in the world, and I can start opening offices, etc. And that's why I'm in over 22 countries. And it's great too, because you can basically work with who you want to, with anybody you want to, where you want to, etc. So, Dennis, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Well, I was thinking, I heard on the radio, I think it was, you can do a Mary Maids franchise for as little as like 40 or 50,000, which is still a lot of money. Think about that. I mean, if you have go cleaning someone's home or office every single day, that's your business. I think Enagic is a franchise in a box. I mean, $5,000 is basically what you would need to get started. And not only do you get a franchise in a box, you get a water ionizer that's going to change your health life. But, you know, there's no real sign-up fees with Enagic. You know, don't have any employees that you have to worry about. Literally no monthly qualifications. It's not like an Amway or something where you're going to have a garage full of product that you have to move and then rebuy and then move it again. And then every year re-up yourself if you fall back on sales. You know, there's no annual renewal. All your sales are accumulative. Once you reach a certain rank, you will stay at that rank until you move higher. You're never going to go backwards. And like John says, you got partners all around the world. I mean, there's people from literally everywhere in the world that are on John's team. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this, from the internet to, you know, one-on-one conversation to webinars and even just in-person demonstrations of the water. John and I were at one Saturday. And I think one of the coolest things is it pays literally every single day. So Enagic is 43-year-old company, probably 44 now. Very, very solid. I believe they've got over, I don't know how much they have in the bank, John.
It's over $100 million in the bank.
$100 million in the bank, okay? Completely and independently owned. They're not a publicly traded company. As you'll see, the products are just fantastic. Their track record of group success is patented, and John will talk about that later. But all of the referrals that you do, you bring someone, you know, onto the program, you're going to make money with that. And I think most importantly, it's extremely team oriented. That's one of the things that I just noted from the beginning. You know, there's people that get no benefit from helping me, yet they help me. And that's just unheard of when it comes to anything that's, you know, network marketing or sales oriented. A good buddy of mine, his name's Mike Hurst, he told me years and years ago, the best way to make money is find a need and fill it. And I think in the United States, we kind of know what our need is. We're extremely, extremely sick in the United States. And that's not really an over-exaggeration in any means whatsoever. We're one of the most obese countries in the entire world. And, you know, we're very good at being sick. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is we treat the illness once we get it. We do absolutely nothing as far as preventive maintenance is concerned. Your Eastern cultures, if anybody's ever been to Europe, I was in Amsterdam years and years ago. It was, amazing to me how fit and thin everyone was. It was the winter time. It was January, and people were still riding bicycles to and from work or wherever they had to go. But if we start thinking more in terms of Eastern culture and really, really think about what we put in our bodies, from the food we eat to literally the water that we drink, we can eliminate a lot of the sicknesses that, you know, find us in older age. Here's a very interesting chart. Japan is #1 when it comes to longevity. We're the United States of America down here at 38, and my guess would be we're probably getting worse. And I think a real big contributor to our sickness is very simple. It's dehydration. How many of you out there can literally say you drink 8-ounce glasses of water a day? I know we also, I try to do that, or every once in a while I do, but you know, you think about this, the first thing they do if you go into the hospital is they give you a saline solution because you're dehydrated. But there's so many things that dehydration, you know, causes in us. And if we just thought for a second of what we're doing and just spent time putting a little bit more water in our bodies, I think we'd be shocked at the difference. I know I am. And, you know, we know our bodies are made up of water, okay? Our brain, our blood, everything, our bones, our liver, and our tissues and our cells, they need water to survive. I think you can survive 3 days without food, but you can't go, I don't know, more than I forget what it is, maybe 2 days or something crazy without water, and you're going to die. So, you gotta really think about it. We were talking about this Saturday too. You got to really consider what kind of water you're putting in your body. If you have a filter on your water, that's phenomenal. It's going to take out some of the substances that are harmful. It's going to take out maybe the chlorine, but it's not going to add anything to it. You might as well just drink tap water. Bottled water, absolutely no better. Distilled water, reverse osmosis water, I like to consider it as dead water. There's basically no minerals in it. And then you got something like the Enagic Kangen water that's alkalized, okay? It's an ionized it's electrically infused water that you put in your body, and you're definitely going to feel the difference. Here's the properties, John. You tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, well, the three properties in the water are, in the drinking water, shall I say, are the antioxidants, the alkalization, and also the microclustered. Now, it's very, very high in antioxidant, and we actually have the person that was a pioneer of the vascular stent, Dr. Horst Filzer. And Dr. Horst Filzer says you couldn't eat enough fruits and vegetables throughout the entire day to get the antioxidants you eat in just one glass of the water. Now, this is Dr. Henry Konda. And Dr. Henry Konda is famous because he was fascinated with the Hunza people. Now, the Hunza people are amazing because they lived to be 140 years old and having babies in their 80s with very little sickness or disease or cancer. And Dr. Henry Konda was, amazed by this. And so what he did is he studied them for 40 years and found that the reason that they live so long is because of the water that they drink. It's very high in antioxidant. It's also very, very alkaline, formed naturally through the glaciers, and it's microclustered. So he actually won the Nobel Prize for that discovery. And he also found that most of the antioxidants that we get shouldn't be found in our foods, but should actually be found in our water. And he proved this and also won the Nobel Prize for this. Now, this is an antioxidant chart. ORP stands for oxidation reduction potential. So anything in the positive is increasing oxidation or the aging effect. So over on the right side, we have bottled water, tap water, sport drinks, sodas. Okay, the higher the number, the more oxidizing or aging effect it has on your body. Anything in the negative is having an anti-aging or anti-rusting effect. So over here we got vitamin C, green tea, cod liver oil, okay? And then we see where the Kangen water is, okay? The Kangen water is at a negative ORP, usually anywhere from a negative 400 to a negative 850. So again, Dr. Filzer says you couldn't eat enough fruits and vegetables throughout the entire day to get the antioxidants. You get just one glass of the water. He also says the two greatest discoveries in his lifetime is Kangen water in Harvard University, where he graduated top of his class, has been teaching at for over 30 years. So that's the first property in the water. The second property in the water, these are actually some miracle waters that are found throughout the world. Tokodi, Mexico, Lourdes, France, Nordau, Germany, Delhi, India, Hunza, and also the Himalayas. And what we did is there's over 40,000 people a day that line up these locations to get their water, because people who go there claim the water has healing properties with diabetes, high blood pressure, etc., things like that. And what we did is we studied each one of these water sources and found they all had one thing in common, and that's active hydrogen, better known as alkaline water. So our company decided to create a machine that could duplicate these waters, even up to 1,000 times stronger than those locations. And as you can see, our factory here that makes those is like a scientific lab. We use them. These are all certified medical devices, so they require the utmost care and also manufacturing. Now, these are some certificates that we won. Up on the top left corner, that is actually our FDA approval in Japan, or equivalency. Now, it's much harder to get FDA approval in Japan than it is in the United States. We actually have that right there. The two ones in the blue and the green, that is ISO certification. That is the highest standard of manufacturing in the world. Again, we're the only company in the world that has these certificates. The brownish colored ones here, that is the top doctors in Asia. There's 6,500 of these doctors, and they formed an organization, and they endorse it, and they use it on all their patients with that certificate. This is our newest one right here. This is WQA, Water Quality Association. This certifies it can legally be put into a hospital, restaurant, business, clinic, etc., without being pulled out by the health authorities. And we're the only company that has this also.
That's amazing to me. The only company that has that certification. It's really important. Many products that Enagic has. This is the Mighty K8. That's the one that personally I have. This is the SD501. That's the SD501 Platinum. That is the junior model right there. This is an Enespa spa unit. It's really important. A lot of us overlook this one, but you know, when we take a shower, we're absorbing the chlorine through our skin, and the Enespa removes that chlorine, and it brings the pH of the water to a 6.0, which is the perfect absorption for your body. And the one in the middle of it, that's the industrial unit. That's for restaurant uses. John has a carpet cleaning, an individual that has a couple carpet cleaning businesses that uses this device in his business. But the K8 is the one that we'll kind of concentrate on. It's the top of the line that Enagic has, but it's got 8 titanium plates. They're all dipped in surgical grade platinum, 99.97% pure. And as John mentioned, it is preventive medicine for adult diseases. It's endorsed by the Japanese Association. This is a view that you get, and this is really important, the types of water that this device produces. The 3 drinking waters on the right there, 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5 is the pH level of the water that you're putting in your body. And that's really important because, as John will later show you, you know, there's physicians that believe cancer cannot survive in a high pH environment. But you've got the 7.0, which has been completely purified. It's great for baby formula or cooking or whatever you want to do. The 6.0 beauty water is really amazing. Your skin absorbs it. I have a spray bottle that I use, and I just spray it on my face, and my wife Monique uses it all the time. The 2.5 water, I think, is hands down my favorite water, and the reason is because it's water, but it is so acidic that it will kill 99.9% of all bacteria out there. And you can use it to spray on your cutting board. You can clean your knives. You can spray on your face with it. There's so many different, you know, things that you can do with it. This is, again, the properties of the water, the 3 types of drinking water. And another one, too, the Strong Kangen Water 11.5, that's actually produced from the top hose, while the bottom hose is producing the 2.5 water. 11.5 water, very high pH. You can drink it, but it also will literally emulsify. So if you mix it with any type of oil, and we all know oil and water don't mix, but if you pour this in, you're going to see the water emulsify. So again, one of the greatest machines out there. It's got a 30-year life expectancy, you know, produces all the medical grade Kangen waters. Just a phenomenal product.
Now, this is Dr. Hiromi Shinya. He's actually one of the top 5 doctors in the world today. What's amazing about this doctor is he actually invented the colonoscopy. He also invented the core snare chordae device, which removes polypectomies and cancerous growths from the colon, and 90% of the time without bleeding. Now, Dr. Shinya, he's worked on over 400,000 patients, and he won't take a patient unless they're drinking the water. He's the only doctor we know of with the 0 reoccurrence of cancer with his patients. And he's got 3 machines in his office. This is one of the books that he's written on the right there, The Enzyme Factor. Now, most doctors are lucky if they sell 5 or 10,000 copies of a book. Just in the first 4 months alone in Japan, he sold over 1 million copies. The first year, he sold over 2 million copies. So that's how well respected he is. Now, these are some before and after pictures of some colons. This is a 45-year-old female with breast cancer and chronic constipation. This is before on the left, and then 3 months after being on the Kangen water. You see a dramatic difference. This is a 52-year-old male with prostate cancer. On the left, we have before, and then on the right, we have 3 months after being on the Kangen water. Now, now, let me be clear about something. We don't claim the water cures, treats, or prevents any types of sicknesses or diseases, but what it does is put your body back into balance so it can heal itself. Now,
I always say, listen, if you don't believe the doctors, if you don't believe John Swardstrom, you know, these guys have won numerous awards. They talk about how amazing the water is. Maybe you'll believe a celebrity, because we tend to in this day and age. But, Bill Gates, I think he has 46 or 48 machines in his homes. He had autoimmune disease, and he found that the water helped him tremendously. Magic Johnson used to have his water flown up from the Mexico location back when he was diagnosed with the HIV virus until he discovered an addict. But there's sports teams like the Seattle Seahawks, the Los Angeles Lakers. They all have Kangen water machines. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. I mean, that guy's got to be like 74, and he still sings like he's 20. Carlos Santana, I saw him years ago on stage, and he holds Kangen water up and, yells to the crowd about it. So we don't pay these guys anything. They own machines because they believe in the healing properties of the water. So it's a testament unto itself. And you think about this too, it's something that we naturally do. We've got a friend named Steven. One of his favorite movies is The Princess Bride. And he says, anybody I talk to, I'm just going to tell them that's one of my favorite movies. And I don't get anything out of it. I just do it for free. And when you're getting the healing benefits of the water and you just share with someone, that's what this basically job is all about, if you will. You're just sharing your experience. So, we're here to kind of figure out how to make money. And there's no better person to tell us about that than Mr. John Swordstrom, because he's made an enormous amount. So tell us a little bit about how we make money, John.
All right. Well, it's fun. It's really cool because we're growing faster than Microsoft, Apple, and Starbucks combined. That's why it's like a sleeping giant that's about to awaken. Now, we know that timing is everything. And as I remember doing a demonstration about 4 years ago in Annapolis, Maryland, at this woman's house, and her and her friends got the machine when I was done. But she was telling me about her business partner who lived in Seattle at the time, 30 years ago. And he actually sent his business partner a mug of Starbucks coffee and the coffee grinds in the mug, and told her about Starbucks coffee stock, how it just came out and how this coffee was going to take off and these coffee locations are going to take off. And at the time, there weren't any coffee houses really. And he bought the stock for $4,000 and tried to convince her to buy the stock also by sending her the coffee and also a Starbucks mug. Well, she didn't buy the stock, but he did. And he ended up selling his stock 24 years later for $25 million. Now, that's because of his new great timing. Timing is everything. And this is actually a trend scale. Every trend item, and by the way, trend items are things that everybody has. But when trend items first come out, nobody really purchases them. It's not until it hits a 3% market share that's when the sales almost go vertical. Now, what are trend items? What are things that everybody has? Trend items are things like microwave ovens, computers, cell phones, CD players, okay? We're growing so fast at the rate we are, and yet we're not even at 1% yet. But when it hits that 3%, just like all those trend items, it's going to take off, and it's going to be like your next microwave oven in your house. Now, you don't want to wait until this, you don't want to wait until everybody has a water ionizer in the house. You want to get in the beginning at this. Just like if you're the first microwave salesman in the United States, you're sitting in a great position because everybody's about to own one of the things that you have. Now, winners don't wait for chances, they take them, right? We don't want to wait around. We want to take the chances when we know a good thing happens. This is actually a patent that we have on our payment system to what we pay to our employees. And in order to patent something like this, it has to be extremely unique. And this is a very unique payment system that we actually pay our employees. So this is basically how it works. We're going to use a K8, which is our most popular item, and it works on an 8-point commission system. So 1 point equals $340. So if you had a pie and you divide it up into 8 equal pieces, each piece is going to be worth $340. So it kind of gives you a little visual. So in the first 2 people you're able to help out, you make $340. On the third person you're able to help out, you're at 2A, and you make $680. Once you're able to help a total group of 10, so if my first person helps out 3 people, second person helps out 2 people, and the 2A helps out 2 people, then on your next direct person that you're able to help out, you're at 3A, and you make $1020. Once you're able to help a total group of 20, then you move up to 4A, you make 4 pieces of the pie, or $1360. Once you're able to help a total group of 50, then you move up to 5A. You make 5 pieces of the pie, or 1,700. Once you're able to help a total group of 100, then you move up to 6A. You make 6 pieces of the pie, and you make 2,040. So I'm going to use myself as an example. And I went out, and the first guy I was able to help out was a guy named Bruce. Bruce got the machine, and I made $340. The nice thing about it is that goes 8 points down. So when Bruce helps out his friend Steve, and Steve gets a machine, and Steve helps out Mary, and Mary gets a machine, and Mary helps out Susan, and Susan gets a machine, I just made $340 in each one of those, and so did Bruce. My second direct person I was able to help out was my dad. My dad got the machine, and he helped out a total of 11 people personally. And then those 11 people helped out other people who helped out other people. So there's over 185 people that got the machine either directly through my dad or indirectly through my dad. So to me, that was basically 185 checks I got for $340 just from my dad. Now, my third direct person I was able to help out was my business partner, Ryan, who had 3 slip discs in his back and 2 herniated discs. And he said after 2 weeks drinking the water, he said 90% of the pain and discomfort was gone. So he got excited, okay? He got the machine. He also helped out a total of 11 people, which has turned into over 65 people getting the machine. So to me, that was basically 65 checks that I got for $680 just from Ryan. Now, once you're able to help a total group of 10, then you move up to 3A and you're at 1020. And the great thing about it is that goes 6 points down, etc. Once you're able to help a total group of 20, then you move up to 4A and you're at 1360. Okay. Now, and again, that goes down 5 points, etc. Once you're able to help a total group of 50, then you move up to 5A and you're at 1700. Now, I got excited about this. I brought my machine up to Seattle. I showed my mom. My mom at the time thought I was crazy because she's a registered nurse and she does clinical trials for drug companies, and she couldn't comprehend that water was so good for you. And so the very next day, I showed my friends Darren and Rosalind. They saw the machine. They saw its value. They got the machine. They now sold over 2,500 machines. Okay. Now my mom, she finally caught on, and about 4 months later, she got the machine, and I sold it to her as a 5A, so I got $1,700 also. She now sold over 2,000 machines. So you see that starts to add up, right? Now, once you're able to help a total group of 100, then you move up to 6A, and you're at 2,040. Now, the thing is, 6A is where everybody wants to be in the company. That's your goal, because once you become 6A, then every sale that you make after that becomes a 6A lane where you're making 2,040. And it also releases a $200 educational bonus, because you saw from the previous screen that you didn't make any money after the 8th point. Once you become 6A, you make $200 from the 9th point, 10 point, 11 point, all the way down to infinity. And that's our $200 educational bonus. Now, what happens too is once you become 6A, the company gives you a $3,000 bonus. And then once you're able to help 2 people in your group become 6A, that makes you a 6A too. And that gives you a $6,000 bonus. Once you're able to help 2 people in your group move from 6A to 6A2, that will make you a 6A2-2, and they give you a $12,000 bonus. And then once you're able to help 2 people in your group become 6A2-2, that moves you to 6A2-3. They give you a $25,000 bonus, plus they give you $5,000 a month for life, plus they give you profit sharing. That's anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 a month on top of that as well, in addition to everything else that you're making when paychecks with the company, and so on. Now, this payment system is so powerful and so unique. You can actually see the amount of paychecks that I made in 3 weeks from this. Is just checking my mail and getting these in 3 weeks.
I tested John on this too, by the way. I went over to his house one time and I said, before we go in, I want you to open the mailbox just so I can see how real this is. And it's literally real. I think there was about 8-10 checks in there totaling roughly $12,000. I was amazed. It was a Saturday. I mean, Saturday mail, you get a bunch of bills and flyers and whatnot. John has $12,000 sitting in his mailbox. So pretty amazing stuff. And you just got checks today, you said too, right?
Yeah, for 2 checks, my bonus checks for this month were $8,400.
Yeah, I'll take it. I would like that, actually.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening typically at this point is people go, okay, I get it. It's really good for me. and I can make a lot of money doing it. But guess what, Dennis? I can't afford $5,000. I don't have any credit. I filed for bankruptcy, so on and so forth. And I believe where there's a will, there's a way. You're not going to get anything for free in this world. And if you have some skin in the game, it's really going to cause you to work a lot harder. Plus, just think about it in terms of, is your family worth it? Is your family and your health worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000? I mean, come on. Of course they are. And, there's so many ways we can do this. We've got financing options available where even if you have a score of like 580 credit score, you can get financing, okay, and buy the thing outright. My gosh, Enagic will do interest-free financing, 20% down, 16 payments of a couple $100, and they don't turn anybody away. I mean, in terms of cost per day, 77 cents. I don't know how they figured that out, but it's a no-brainer. I mean, my gosh, it really does work. And here's a great example of what we're spending right now. I don't know of anybody who doesn't buy bottled water, okay, except for people like us who have the machine. But this one blows me away. Fiji water for 15 years, family of 4, you're going to spend $100,000? I mean, that's insane. And even if you just go with Sparkletts, you're talking about $15,000, $16,000 over the next 15 years. It makes absolutely no sense. Not to mention the bottles, the environment, how much oil it takes to produce that plastic. They don't stay for long because of all the chemicals that are leaking from the plastic. It's just, it's terrible. And when you become an Enagic owner, you have a home-based business. And when you have a home-based business, number one, the IRS says, you can write off $5,000 right off the bat. That's the cost of the machine. But think about this in terms of the future. Any bit of your mortgage or rent that you use, for the business, you can write off. Portions of your phone bill, your car payment, driving around, airfare, hotels. Monique and I went to Hawaii. We stayed in a beautiful, on Maui, right in front of the ocean, and we wrote the whole thing off. So you just talk to people about the water. Guess what? You've got a home-based business. It's that franchise in a box type thing. And people are succeeding at this. Again, the company is old, but in the United States, they're brand new. Like John said, less than 1% of American households own one of these machines. I firmly believe that there will come a day when almost every household in the United States has one of these devices. We all know how important water is, and we all know how difficult it's becoming to get. But it's a very simple and duplicatable system. John will help you. I will help you. People in your team will help you. And the market is gigantic. There are baby boomers who are retiring right now. They're concerned about their health, but they're also concerned about their wealth. Do they have enough money to literally stop working? And, they don't want to outlive their money. They want their money to outlive them. So, you've got a market in front of you that's just, it's dying literally to become involved with something like this. And the puppy dog marketing approach is real simple. You share the water, okay? You find out if it's benefiting someone. 99% of the time it is. After they drink the water for a little bit, they're going to say, hey, how do I get one of these? So, there's never been a better time to become involved in a company like Enagic, at least in my belief. And, so a solid company. The products are phenomenal. I can't stress enough how people help you. John Swardstrom, I've met Daniel Damacali, I've met Eli, some of the big guys in the company. And bottom line, you know what? They're just like me and you. They really are. They're people who are out there who want to help other people. So the team orientation, for my money, is just extremely important. So it really does work. It really does. If you guys were invited by someone, contact them and tell them, hey, I want to learn more. If you weren't and you want to call John or I, please feel free. But, we just want to thank you so very, very much for even considering this. But don't just consider it. Do something about it. Think about your linear income. Think about becoming that person that has residual income. I mean, you saw John's checks. They're real. This thing does work. So, again, thank you very much. And John, thank you so much for being on this with us as well.
Hey, Dennis, just want to say a couple things, a couple things to think about. Number one is your machine is pretty much paid for in taxes in 5 years. Okay, so even if you got the machine, you're going to be saving a lot of money on water, disinfectants, and things like that. But just in taxes alone, in the first 5 years, with deductions and everything, it's basically paid for. Now, also with 8, if you're able to help 8 people get a machine and help them out, your machine is basically paid for. Okay. Also, the guy who showed me this, okay, you can always, what's nice about this is, even though he showed it to me, I make 5 times as much money as he does. Okay, so you can always, you don't feel like you're being held down by the person above you. You can do whatever you want. The sky is the limit. And, even if you don't sell any machines, you're still getting a great product. And even if you got bad credit, say you have 0 credit, our company, Enagic, will finance you no matter what your credit score is. And so just a couple things to think about. This is the best business I've ever seen. It's the best product I've ever seen. It's the best payment system and compensation program to the people I've ever seen. And it's a great amount of help that you're going to get from everybody on the team. And because if you're not successful, we're not successful. And as a great Paul Getty once said, he said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts rather than 100% of mine. And that's how Rob Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, T.R. Beckert, all these motivational speakers, they all teach the same thing, that if you want to make it in today's society, in today's world, you need to get a job that makes you passive income or residual income. That's why I get those checks in the mail every month, whether I sell a machine or not. And that's what you want. And if I end up in bed, if I end up with that, getting a car accident and I'm not able to work, that money still comes to me no matter what. So thanks a lot, guys. Dennis, back to you.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week, Tuesday.